welcome. That's right. It is episode number 2 of the Live Better Show, brought to you by the folks at Wave.video. We are excited to be back, and well, you know what? Last week we learned a little bit about audio, and so hopefully this week we're not going to have those lessons because everything's going to work and be super, but that's why we're here. We're learning how to live better together. So we're looking forward to everything we have going on today. We've got an incredible guest. She's a very dear friend of mine. I've known her for, well, you know what? I'll have to ask her because I may get it wrong, and there's actually a story behind that where I got in trouble because I did get it wrong before. So we'll discuss that in a little bit. But we hope everyone is doing well. That you had an incredible week. That many of you maybe went out and started your own new live show last week. We are looking forward to seeing what you are going to put together. So what do we do here? We bring in industry experts from around the world, people who live stream, specialize in graphic design, video, audio, cameras, branding, everything that you need to make your live stream better. That's what we do. We help you live better. But if you want to continue watching each week and get a little notification, we want to make sure that you subscribe, like, share, ring the bell, all the things we've heard of a million times, and we'll make sure that we have a link in the comments for you so that you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, wherever it is that you're not following us right now. But hey, listen, I am not going to sit here and just blah, 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 blah all day long, partly because where I live, we've been under a tornado warning. So if by chance at some point you just see me blow away, well, you know what happened. All right, let's bring in, without further ado, our guest this week. Oh, what is that? What is that? There she is. Well, hello. It's Christine Gritmon. She is a branding expert and a dear friend, and happens to use red curtains, red everything actually. But I know red curtains in your live stream, so we thought we'd throw that in there just for you.
I like it. Nice branding touch.
Well, that's an interesting thing that you bring up because, if you're building relationships, it's not always just about your branding, right? It's about incorporating others. So
that's true.
We can get to that, but let's learn a little bit about Christine and what makes her tick. I know you got a little bit of New York blood, and everybody I know from New York can be a little feisty. Do you fit the bill?
Me, feisty, never. In fact, a friend actually did say to me that he was surprised that my brand color is red. He's like, you're kind of more chill than that. I'm like, am I?
I think I might have asked him the same question. Is she? Like, where do you hang out with her at? Like, yoga class?
I think it's all relative. I mean, if you hang out with crazy people, I guess I'm incredibly like Zen, but
there you go. And we all know that the words crazy and relative usually go together.
Yeah.
So, speaking of red, let's talk about this whole red thing. You're a branding expert. That's what you help others do is better brand their brand, I guess, for lack of a better term. I know that you work with people on live streaming, and of course that's what we're here to do, is to help others live better. So when it came to your brand, how did the red come to be so much red?
I would love to say that I did, color research and color psychology and decided that since red was, bold and I emboldened people to stand in the spotlight of their personal brand. But no, it was already my favorite color. Before I ever had any sense of a personal brand, I didn't have red everything. It didn't come to this level of everything red until it became a branding thing. But I did like it. It was already my favorite color. And then once it became a personal branding thing, it went whew, I mean, for 5 years there, I had bright red hair. Not all of it. It was always like an ombre situation. And in fact, when I decided to get rid of the red hair, some people were like, "You can't. It's your brand." And I was like, "The brand follows me, so no." But yeah, it's just, and it's a very handy color to have as your personal brand color, I must say, because it's very easy to find. I do have a very specific shade of red. I know the hex code and everything, but it even that one is pretty easy to find. It's easy to find red stuff. Obviously, you can wear red to a greater degree and more easily than a lot of other colors. I mean, if my brand color were purple, maybe I'd have purple nails. I might not have purple lipstick. If I did, that would be a whole other level of communicating my brand. But red's very classic. I mean, you think of the old Coca-Cola ads, that's all red. And it goes nicely with the vintage thing too, which also is just kind of something that I already liked, and I just amped it up to 11. So that's really the story of my branding. What am I already into and amping it up to 11.
I like it. And of course, I'm into the whole vintage vibe as well. So it's probably maybe why we
got the same microphone here.
I see. That's
I don't normally use this microphone. I may want to actually start incorporating it more into my show because it's cute and it's real. I'm actually, the sound is coming through my Yeti right now, not through this microphone, but it is a real microphone. I might have to switch to that.
People always say it's my Yeti, and I still to this day don't think microphone first. I still think of the person, like she's got a Yeti.
Yeah, the Yeti is my translator. I'm actually speaking a completely different language to an abominable snow monster right here, and it's actually their voice that's coming at you. It's very melodious.
So
Yeti.
We got the red part, but what about just branding in general? Like what was it that made you decide, I really like this branding thing?
Again, it was a combination of accidental, recognizing it, and then going deliberate. So when this is career number 4 for me, and career number 3, I worked in my local newsroom. So I was a local journalist, and they were just starting to really encourage the journalists to kind of become personal brands. And this was the opposite of what they had been taught in journalism school. They had been taught you keep yourself out of the story, you're a non-entity. And now suddenly they were expected to develop Twitter followings. I didn't have journalistic training. I just happened to be good at stringing words together. And so I came in and I took to that instantly. I was like, oh, yeah, sure. And I started new accounts on social media for my public persona. Eventually, they actually became my real accounts. And I got rid of I stopped maintaining my old ones just because my professional life and my real life really did become one and the same. But started new public professional accounts. That's why I have blue check marks on a couple of platforms. It's not because I'm actually important. It's because I used to be a journalist. And also social media. Social media was a fairly new tool. I had worked in marketing years ago. Social media wasn't a thing then. I'm older than I look, people. So my first experience really using social media as a marketing tool was in the newsroom. And they were just starting to figure it out. They didn't have like a specialist for it or anything. And I just took to it. And so I became very well known in my local area to the point where they promoted me into a position of engagement editor, where I helped other people in the newsroom to do that, to make those connections with our coverage area and our readership. And I actually had a column where it was like I'd go to events all week as kind of the face of the paper. And then I'd kind of write about that. So, yeah, so I was a personal brand.
I know you personally, and I know when it comes to speaking, you're never at a loss for words. But and of course, that's a compliment. But what about the writing when you were working in the newsroom? Did you get writer's block much?
The thing about it, my problem is I write long. So I learned how to edit with a machete, because my problem is the thing that I'm most interested in about writing, and it's also what I love about live video. I really love shining a big shiny spotlight on cool things other people are doing, on smart people who other people should know about. And so when I was interviewing local businesses or whatever, when I was interviewing someone for the paper, I wanted to tell their whole story. And a huge part of a journalist's job is really being choosy about that and editing it down to what people need to know. So I didn't get a lot of writer's block so much as it was tricky to kind of hone things into shape so that they were a bit snappier and I didn't get lost. I learned how to use fewer, stronger words.
Nice.
So that helped a lot.
You know, that's interesting. You know, you wanted to tell their story. Did you find it was hard often to get the story out of them? Like they really didn't think what they had
Yes.
to share was even like worth it?
Yes, generally it was at one end of the spectrum or the other. Either people thought every detail of their whole everything was fascinating, and those were actually my favorites, even though they were a pain to edit because those people were very passionate. But I'll never forget one interview that I did. I was talking to this guy about his restaurant he had just opened, and he didn't open it out of like passion. He was just like, it's a business I can open. And I said, okay, so what are some of the dishes you do best? And he just mentioned the type of cuisine. I'm like, yeah, but if I come here and I haven't had this before, what's a must try? He's like, whatever you like. And it was just, I'm like, why should someone come here instead of going to that place down the street? And it was just, I had to come at it from so many different angles. But you're an interviewer as well. That's a huge part of the skill of the interviewer. Interviewers and therapists, honestly, have a lot in common. And a lot of it comes into play also with how I work with my clients, which is it's all about asking the right questions that get the interesting answers and that kind of pull it out of them. Because a lot of people think that what they're doing is not that interesting, or they think that the things that they think are interesting about it aren't necessarily. So it's a matter of being able to shape that conversation, not by putting words in anyone's mouth, not by jumping to conclusions yourself, but by asking the right series of questions in the right way to tease out what the story really is. That's what I loved about journalism. That's what I love about live streaming, because I too have an interview show and I love being interviewed. And that's also what I do with my clients. Honestly, it's about kind of teasing out the things about them that are special and that we want to put forward into the world.
So we got Ursula says she finds it hard to build a personal brand when you don't have enough self-confidence.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
A lot of people have that issue, and what you have to do is hopefully, ideally, you have people in your life who think that you're more amazing than you think that you are.
No, absolutely.
And it's a matter of realizing maybe those people aren't liars. Like maybe, just maybe, those people actually see something actual. Maybe they do have taste. Maybe they do have standards. And maybe they're not saying you're amazing just because they love you. Maybe they love you because you're amazing. And so it's a matter of putting yourself in their shoes, of listening to the nice things that they say about you and that they notice about you without coming at it from a place of nah. Or if they're just saying that because they love me, or they don't really know.
Was there a little bit of New York in that little nah you said there?
Maybe.
Coming from a place
I'm a lifelong New York State resident. So, and I just spent more than 24, whatever a day and a half is. I don't want to do math. 36 hours in New York City. So maybe. I just spoke at a conference in the city yesterday. So maybe I got a little more New Yorker in me.
When it comes to branding, though, with obviously our target that we're shooting for here are people who are already live streaming or they're thinking about live streaming.
That's me.
And we get the whole branding thing when it comes to Coke or Pepsi or even smaller things or whatever. But why is branding so important? What are the actual benefits to somebody who's live streaming when it comes to branding? And why should a host be so concerned about it?
Absolutely. So I like to say that your brand is the version of you that lives in other people's heads. Ideally, a version of you does live in people's heads and you're not completely forgettable. So you want to be as much of an influence on what that image is as possible. Nobody wants to feel misunderstood. Nobody wants to feel misrepresented. Nobody wants to feel like, oh, that's not what I meant to put out there, though. So that's part of why it matters. Because if someone's been exposed to you, hopefully, you were memorable and you want to control what that memory is. But on another level, and especially for a show host, You want to be memorable in a way that makes people want to come back. So if they happen to cross your show once, and then they happen to cross it again, you want them to know that it's the same thing they've already seen, because you want those brand impressions to pile on top of each other, to add up to a bigger picture of who and what you are and why they should care. If they don't remember you, if they come across you once and then they come across you again and they don't remember that they've already come across you. Like, say, if someone met you at a conference in Denver in 2018 and then, re-met you at a conference in San Diego in 2019 and didn't know that they had met you. I mean,
so what you're saying is technically it would be on that person for not having their branding in line, not the person who forgot.
I guess so. But what it really is making it clear that those impressions are still the same you. We've all been in a situation, or most of us, where we meet someone at a networking event, then we go up to add them on LinkedIn or whatever, or we just Google them, and we're not sure if it's the same person. Because the person I met had, platinum blonde hair, and this person's a redhead, and, or this person is 20 years older than the person I'm seeing on LinkedIn. And it's hard. It's like, am I in the right place? Or if a business, they have one logo in one place and a different logo somewhere else because they rebranded, but they didn't update everything. Is that the same brand? So it is important to not only to be memorable, but also to be consistent, to make sure people know that you are who they've seen before and they want more.
Oh, absolutely. So how do you recognize good branding? Like when you watch somebody's live show, what are specific things that when you're watching it, you're like, oh, they're doing it?
I like it when they've done a little bit of what you do and what I do, which is they've taken the time to actually sort of set the stage, to create a vibe for it. Overlays do that. Not going with the default color scheme or the default fonts can do that. It's not all about visuals. I'll be the first to say that. It doesn't have to be about visuals, but the fact is when I see a live stream show that is set up like this versus a live stream show where it's just the standard out of the box split screen with nothing exciting on it, it tells me that they're a little more serious about it. Production quality is nice, but it goes, in terms of like the good cameras, the good lighting and all of that. But that's less important to me than just like the fact that they've taken care of the details. And also the fact that you know what you're getting. So if I know that Chad is interviewing people about how to make their live streams better, I know why I would want to bother tuning in again. Stephanie Liu is like that. I'm always going to learn something about how to live stream better, how to communicate better, how to just, be out there in a way that really gets across and makes a connection to people. And she has a few different shows. She's had a few different shows, but I always know what I'm going to get when I watch anything that she's a part of, simply because I know that she knows the biggest value she brings to the table besides her dance moves. She's a really good dancer. But I think that's a really big thing, making it clear why someone should care and then just delivering that consistently.
Have you since the red has become a big thing for you, have you ever gone to an event where you were like, oh, I forgot my red?
That would be difficult to do. I have a lot of red stuff. I have toned it down. I mean, I go to an event sometime and I'm wearing, black pants and a white shirt and, but usually like my lipstick will be red, my earrings will be red, my nails will be red, my shoes will be red. So something will be red. Yesterday, it was actually too much. It was interesting. Yesterday, I spoke at an event. Now that my hair isn't red anymore, I can wear more red. So I had a red dress on. I did not have red earrings. I wore gold earrings. I had my red lipstick. So yeah, just the dress and the lipstick were red and the earrings. No, not the earrings. But then I put my mask on. I didn't have to wear the mask all day at the event, but I put my mask on when I was in, public spaces moving to the event, and my mask was red. I had my backpack with me because I had stayed overnight the night before, and that's what I used as my luggage. My backpack was red, and I'm like, oh, this is too much. This looks silly, and it was clashing. I'm like, this is too much red, but it made me very easy for the Lyft driver to spot. I put it in the notes. I was like, I'm wearing a lot of red, and he's like, okay, you're Christine.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
it's
funny.
unlikely that I'd straight up forget the red. Sometimes I'm a little more chill. Like if you see me at the grocery store, I'm not going to be head to toe in red, but I'll probably be wearing my red sneakers. I'll probably be wearing a red mask, because it's just part of my life.
Marissa said that your hair isn't red anymore, but we know you and red are synonymous. She also mentioned that you can um, just have a nice branded overlay and a good
Yeah.
camera, and as long as you're consistent, people will recognize that.
As long
So
as you showed some degree of effort, I feel like that says a lot with the live stream. I mean, there are people who will literally just go live, and that's part of their thing. They like the immediacy and the intimacy of just going live at random times from their phone. But that's not necessarily brand building. That might be community building in a way if people kind of like that unpolishedness of it. But if you are using your live streams as a branding tool, again, branding doesn't have to be all visual. It's more about the type of detail you bother with.
yeah, no, I get that. I went to a conference before COVID, and in Kansas, and I forgot my hat, and I got tons of "you look familiar, but I can't place
Yeah.
it," and so
Yes.
yeah, so that was kind of a big deal for me. Listen, we have a question from Karina. She was wondering if there's things that, in your opinion, um, that should never be allowed, as far as like in communication, coming across the screen on your live stream. How would that affect your
I
brand?
would say not really, just because some people would say, oh, never touch on, religion or politics, but plenty of people that is their brand. So just think about the fact that anything you put out there could be someone's only impression of you. You
Right.
don't know the little bit they happen to be catching out of context. So as long as you're aware of that and as long as you own that, I feel like it's totally up to you. The one thing I would say is not great is when there's a ton of dead air on a live stream. We've both seen that. It's awkward. People want to turn away. um it kind of annoys me when people on live streams can't shut up about the fact that they're live streaming. Except on a show like this, it would make sense because you're all about live streaming, and even you're not doing that because you're a good interviewer. But that's kind of annoying. I'm like, why am I watching this? Yes, I know we're live. I'm watching it. I'm aware. Move on. Why am I watching it? I don't know. Click. I would say just always be mindful of the value of your audience's attention. There's a million other things they could be watching. There's a million other things they could be doing. Just have respect for that relationship no
Right.
matter what you do. But I wouldn't say any topics or communication styles are off limits because you do you. There's people who are into everything. So
Yeah, I think that's, it's one of those. First of all, if it's your show, then the communication style and what is kosher, not kosher, kind of is set. Do you think, though,
we're
as
in
a
my house.
guest on someone's show, should you change a few things to maybe fit their standard?
I think it's a good idea to, well, here's the thing, you have to kind of co-brand. And it's funny, I know that you love Disney, and I was just at Disney World, and it was a masterclass in branding. Obviously, I have to write something about it, but the co-branding really impressed me. The fact that they have versions of Mickey for every other sub brand you could possibly conceive, and then there's other stuff that people just ordered off Etsy that combines even more fandoms.
Right.
So ideally, co-brand to some degree. Show up as yourself because this could be that host's audience's first and possibly only impression of you. So make it clear why they'd want to follow you as well. But I feel like it's good to respect your host's audience as well and to get a sense of what they come to expect.
Gotcha. What are the signs or things that you see or that really pop out to you when you're watching a show or you're talking to a client, that make you realize, hey, this whole branding thing, it's not working. It's time to rebrand. It's time to blow it up, reconstruct it, do it over. What are the big red flags? No, I'm sorry, I had to use red there, but that's what we use, right? Wow, you own the whole color.
I do.
but that say, hey,
Coke,
the
Target, Virgin, never heard of them.
the branding's not working.
If they don't know why they're doing it. If I say, okay, so why is your color purple? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, is it your favorite color? And they're like, nah. Like, does it, evoke something? They're like, nah. So if someone says that they don't know why they're doing it, maybe let's figure that out. And if it's already been effective and people already know them for it, maybe we start to transition some other elements in, so that's kind of not a full overhaul, but at least there's some more deliberate stuff in there. Or, as is more likely, if they're not really in control of it, if it's not really known yet, then we can totally change it. But yeah, I think when people don't know why, I also think that when someone's trying to be all things to all people,
Sure.
they feel like it means that they're wide open to opportunity and it'll increase their chances of success. And we all know that it does the opposite, actually, because people don't know what to go to you for. It's very good if people know, oh, that's the such and such person, or oh, I know
Right.
what I want them to speak on, or I know what they want them to teach, what I want them to teach me, or I know what I want to hire them for. Much better if people know that you're that thing person. Like, Chad, when you're at a conference, people know you're taking a ton of video. People know that you're going to mix it up into your own stuff. People know that you're going to make GIFs. People know that you're going to catch those stories. So you've developed a reputation for yourself as that. And I feel like that happened just by you being you, and then you decided to own it. But yeah, nice mug. So it's very
There
so
we
it's a very
go.
good thing to be known as the whatever person,
Right.
for sure. And people who are too scared to define that, they're holding themselves back.
No, yeah, I agree with that. What would you say to somebody that's having a hard time kind of niching down and taking, what they do, combining the two things? Okay, I'm trying to niche down and I'm trying to brand. How do they morph those things?
Yeah, I feel like there's two things they need to pay attention to: the inside voices and the outside voices. So one of them is, what's your favorite part of what you do? Or if you aren't enjoying what you do, what do you wish you could do? And take practicality out of the equation. Not what do you think you have the best chance at succeeding at. What do you enjoy the most about your work? Or what do you think you'd enjoy about the line of work you're looking on going into? Really look at the favorite parts. And then the other thing to look at is the outside voices. What do people notice you're excellent at? That maybe you're
Right.
like, well, I don't know why they think I'm so great at that. I just kind of do it. We naturally dismiss things that come naturally to us. We naturally dismiss the value of our own skills because we're like, that's easy. Of course, it's easy for you if you're good at it, right? So
Yep.
listen also to those outside voices who are recognizing things about you that you think, I mean, fish don't know they're in water, right? You're swimming in your own awesomeness. You don't necessarily know that not every place is wet. So listen to those outside voices also of not the haters. Don't listen to the haters. Listen to the people who think you're awesome and why. Why do you think I'm awesome? What do you notice about me? How would you describe me to other people? And if you're super anxious like me, you might be like, oh, they're going to say that I suck. And no, just stop being crazy. Just
Hey, listen.
listen.
One of the things
Yeah.
we are going to be doing today is giving away some prizes, and you actually are bringing one to the table. It's a
I
half-hour
am.
Zoom session to go through your branding with Christine.
So we can talk about brand.
Yeah, and we're going to be choosing, from those who are the most engaging in the comments here during the show today. So, Christine, we've kind of touched on it, but why don't you just take a second, like, just really just nail it down, tell the audience here what it is you do so they know what they're trying to win.
Absolutely. I tease out your awesomeness. Why people need to know you. Why you are bringing value to the world. And I help you put it forward in a bigger, bolder way so that the people who need you can find you. A lot of people feel like putting themselves out there is selfish. It's actually selfish to let your own insecurities get in the way of you helping people. So I help you to do that work, to work through it, and to just own that yeah, you do have value, and yeah, people do need it, and yeah, you owe it to them to let them be able to find you.
I like it. I like it. So we're going to be giving those away here shortly. Someone also asked here momentarily ago, can you brand slogans and communication styles?
Depends on what you mean by brand. If you mean brand like legally trademark and all of that, I don't really get involved in that necessarily, though I have someone in my show talking about that in December. But yeah, you absolutely can. People tend to have things that they say a lot. It's actually a very good idea, especially if you're going to be doing a live show or podcast, to have consistent, greetings and sign-offs that people associate with you, and catchphrases that you tend to use, and words you tend to use in your copy. Absolutely. I think it's good to have a consistent conversational tone, to use consistent words, because you're more likely to be found for them. And I don't just mean do a keyword dump. You don't want to sound like a computer, but be aware of words that you want to be associated with. Some of them should be words that other people are looking for to find you, but some of them could just be words that you like that add some color. I use the word rock a little more than possibly makes sense, just because it keeps coming out of my mouth. But like, rock your personal brand, be a rock star. I don't know. I like
Rocking
it.
a hard place.
And so no, hopefully not. And people aren't using that word to find me, but I just keep saying it and it keeps coming out. And I'm like, all right, I'll own the fact that I want everyone to be a rock star and feel like a rock star.
Marissa just commented the hashtag now more than ever. And
where's Tim Sohn?
Yeah, in our little circles, that somebody has definitely taken that one and run with it.
Absolutely.
So what are 5 of your favorite tools or tips that you would suggest people use that'll help them make their brand really pop and sizzle or rock?
I use Canva a lot. For like everything. I have actual graphic design training. I could be using Adobe Creative Suite for these things. I don't, because Canva is so easy. And I played around a little bit with Easel also, which is also great for that. And Wave.video actually has a lot of tools that, and I'm not just saying that because they're your sponsor. I've started putting together my show overlays in Wave because it's easy. And it's very handy and it's very user friendly. So that stuff is good. I'd say get your brand guide together. Look at fonts. Don't just go with default fonts.
Right.
I think that's helpful. Not all branding is visual, obviously, but I think that it's very handy to have a sense of your color palette and your fonts. Tools. I like using live streaming programs instead of just going live natively on Facebook Creator Studio or whatever, because you have so much more branding power to make things look like your own. And again, same with Canva. I mean, I have templates that I update for everything.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because and you also mentioned Wave.video, and they actually, let's take a look here. They've got some different templates that they have available to their users at Wave.video.
And you can make GIFs on Wave now. You can make GIFs.
This is just one of the styles here, but you can see they've got different components. You can introduce your guests. They have a little, here's Be Right Back. Tech issues. That one comes in handy if I'm running the show for sure. Countdown timers, and these are all things that are actually available on Wave.video, and they're also customizable, so you can brand them. You can put lower thirds, but they have a number. And actually, what we're going to start doing is each week is we're going to bring one up and just kind of take a look at it and let people see them. But there is a link also that will take you right to those templates. So we just wanted to make sure that people were aware that those are available at Wave.video, and if you don't see what you need, drop us a message. You never know, we can put you in touch with somebody who can help you design them for you. There we go. Wave is already commenting right there. You can see they have a lot of templates,
and they're always developing. That's another thing. They always have new stuff up there.
And they have an incredible team, and they all love the product because actually in the comments, I think there's like 4 team members from Wave who actually have all commented with the link. Here they are. Here they are. So I absolutely love that.
And for people watching, nobody asked me to say anything nice about Wave. It's just true.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. That's awfully kind of you. Orange Monkey, I'm going to guess that that's not on the birth certificate, says, I want to do more videos, but I don't want to come on camera. How do I keep my company and brand and myself separate, especially when we're very small?
I'd say, first of all, get over it. But second of all, whatever you can do, branding without a human as the face of the brand, it's going to be a little trickier to sort of make that human connection, but you can do it. That puts a lot more of the onus on having that visual branding guide together. If you do videos that include, text moving around, moving elements, things like that, make sure that your color scheme, your fonts, all that is on. But I've definitely seen videos that have been perfectly successful where there's a voiceover.
Sure.
But so the person's voice is on there, but they don't have to be on camera because the things that they're saying, the key points are maybe appearing on screen, or maybe pictures that can illustrate their key points. Maybe they're talking about other people. Maybe they're talking about their customers. Maybe they're using some user-generated content. So those are some ways that you can avoid getting on camera, but don't avoid getting on camera. People want to build a relationship with you. If you don't want to build a relationship with them, maybe rethink things.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Totally. Hopefully here in just a minute, they're going to, by the way, guys, if you are, have not yet, be commenting and engaging because they are going to be picking winners, and we are going to be giving that away here pretty quickly. So that's not just a cue to you to make sure you're commenting. That's also a cue to the people working behind the scenes to let me know who won. So
I'm the product. I'm the prize, you guys. You guys get me.
Hey, there's worse things. Oh, the grand prize winner, number 1 winner, is Marissa Callie.
Marissa, you won me, girl.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, am I the grand prize or am I the
You are
consolation
the grand prize.
You
are the grand prize. So
right,
a half-hour brand strategy session and also a set of our new stickers. You know what? I probably should have thought this through. Christine, I'm gonna do something really bad for just a minute, and I'm gonna cover up your face.
What are you gonna do?
Yes, those are our new Wave video stickers. Do you see the top one? That's correct. I am now a yellow man sticker. Put them wherever you'd like, the back of your computer.
I'm going to put mine on my X stand, assuming I get one.
We'll see a lot of them. But you've heard of the Blue Man Group. I'm now the Yellow Man. So, Marissa, congratulations on that. And then
Joe Wilson says we're all famous to a few people.
We're all famous to a few people. And he started selling the shirts to raise money for his wife who had cancer. Orange Monkey, you, along with Ursula van der Putten, I think it's Putin, are our second and third winners. And you guys are each going to be getting a set of stickers. And someone should be messaging you or replying in the comments on how to get in touch with us so we can send those to you.
Do I get stickers?
It's still coming up. There we go. All right, that was our little celebration emoji that just popped up
fun.
A little. It was late to the party, but it was obviously ready to party. So there
yes,
you
it
go.
Was.
That's all right. It's episode 2. We're still working out the kinks. We're here to learn together.
We're number 2.
How to live better.
Number 2.
We're number 2. We had a high school back home. Like they've come a long way now, but way back in the day, like their biggest chant in the stands was "We can still win," and they'd be down
Oh,
40
that's so
points, but
sad.
we can still
That's
win.
so sad.
And
Oh.
there's literally were students who would start that. I just can't imagine being a player on the field. Like I don't see that motivating me. It's the sarcasm
We
of
have heart. We play with a heart.
we play
We have
with
good
heart.
personalities.
Oh, there we go. There's a message from Karina. She's part of the team at Wave. She is a rock star. See how I used rock there just for you?
I do.
A red rock star. That's where you need to go is Red Rocks in Colorado. And that would
I need to do a photo shoot there.
yeah, that would be probably somewhat zen for you. So,
It'll be awesome.
all right, let's go back here to our regular world where we could just chat for a little bit here before we let everybody go. If anybody else has any questions they want to throw out at us,
Hit me.
I'm trying to think of what else really I want to throw out there. Have there been some attempts at branding that you've seen without naming names where you were just like, no.
My own. I'll use me as an example, so I don't have to talk smack about anybody else. My first year in business. So I did know some things about branding before I quit my job to start my own business in May 2016. I actually did my headshot shoot first. And I put my face on my business cards, and I still do that because it's memorable, and because I am the brand, I am the product, I'm what you're buying into. But when it came to the rest of it, first of all, I had some stuff that was like burgundy, and then I had some bright red, and it was like I hadn't really, the red wasn't really a thing yet, and it was different shades of it, and burgundy was a tricky one because there's so many shades in that spectrum. And then the font, I kind of went with just a basic serifed font in lowercase. It was Didot or Dido. I don't know how you pronounce it when I could find it, but otherwise it could be Garamond. It was just basic lowercase serifed font, often with some space. And my logo, my official logo, I pretty much never used. It was just a big lowercase c G. I love the curly G, like the typewriter G, but I didn't really use it. It was kind of big and clunky and not that memorable. And I just was kind of whatever with my branding in a lot of ways, in terms of the visuals, but also in terms of what I did. I was kind of a generalist with social media. I mean, it was small local businesses, so I wasn't that general, but
did you figure it out, or did you have outside help like you offer others?
I didn't have outside professional help in figuring it out. Every August, because August is kind of a slow time for a lot of business owners anyway, because that's when they take time for their own family vacations or whatever. So every August, I sort of take a step back from a lot of stuff. I don't do my live show in August. I don't run my chat in August. August is for my business. And last August in particular, August 2020, I said, I'm really ready for a big brand update. I had a big brand update less than a year into my business when I first went to social media marketing world. Yeah. When I first went to social media marketing world in 2017, I came home and was like, I got to pull my brand together. And I did a lot of that work then. I chose my color, and I started putting things in a bigger place. But last August 2020, I really rebranded in a bigger way. I said, the fonts I'm using are too common. And I spent the whole month I had a Pinterest board. I was going crazy looking for combinations I liked that felt sort of vintage, but that were legible. And I'd write out phrases that I'm using frequently. And I'm like, oh man, the capital B looks ridiculous. So I just had to really see how I'd use them. I took the red a lot further. I incorporated the red into my photography in a bigger way. And I did a major overhaul last August. And the best thing about it is that a lot of people didn't realize that I rebranded last August because it was very much a continuation of my existing branding. And I also got a better logo. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go with my name. And my logo, the way it's written, is based on my actual signature. I have always, since I was probably in middle school, maybe high school, had at the end of the E, I curve it around and I cross my T with it. And in my new logo, it does that. The font didn't do that naturally. We kind of tinkered with it in Illustrator. And so it's great. And I have it's here actually. You can see it.
Do you have an animated version where it does the?
No, that's next. I gotta do that next.
We need to make that happen.
Yeah, so I just elevated it all, and then actually this August, I didn't do as much of a change. This August things stayed consistent. I just pushed it all a little bit further, and I did another photo shoot where I'm literally with a red curtain like I have in my show graphics. I was like, instead of using a stock red curtain and putting stuff on front of it, how about I actually I went to my high school, which has a red stage curtain. I've been on this stage, on the stage, backstage. I spent a lot of time in that auditorium in high school. And so it was kind of interesting to do a shoot there. Like,
she was in performing arts, folks. She was in performing arts. She wasn't like hiding or trying to skip class.
Yeah. I'm like, I am walking into this room with so much more confidence than I had back when I basically lived in this room. That it was kind of cool. And so I'm always just pushing it a little bit farther, figuring out what to do there. And also I've made a bigger push into I'm personal branding girl. Because again, I was social media generalist for a while. I can still do that. But now people know what to talk to me for. They know what to interview me for. They know what to have me on their show for. They know what to have me speak at their conference about. And they know what to hire me for. So personal branding was not the thing I put out there as my focus until August 2020. And people are like, no, that was always your thing, though. You were always about that. I'm like,
right.
Technically, no, but you think it was. And that shows it was a good move.
Nope, I totally get it. We have a lot in common on our journeys. So
yeah,
definitely, without a doubt. Christine, I thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us and sharing your tips and letting us add all kinds of red into our live stream today. I think everyone enjoyed it. What is the best place for them to reach you if they want to learn more?
Well, I have a pretty basic connection page, Gritmon.com/connect. And that's GRIT, like when something's gritty, like sand, MON, like Monday. .com/connect. And that's great because you can see all my links there and follow me in all the places, but you can also submit a form so that I can follow you. And the best way to catch me every week is on Friday at 12 noon Eastern time. I do my own live show, Let's Talk About Brand, where I interview a smart person about a specific element of branding. This week, we're talking about branding a pivot with Cass McMahon. But then also on Tuesdays at 12 noon Eastern on Twitter, I host a Twitter chat about brand. And that one does not have a guest, but it's always on the same topic as the Friday show. So yesterday on Chat About Brand, we talked about branding a pivot. And then on Friday, I'm interviewing Cass McMahon to talk about how she has branded her own career pivot.
I love it. And the Twitter chat you do is great. I'm like busy or buried, and but it's funny. You know, one of the ways you know you're starting to brand yourself well is when some of these Twitter chats or even other live shows where suddenly you're called out or you're tagged because they're talking about something that you popped in their head. Oh, so and so does that. And so those are good little moments to let you know, hey, maybe I'm on the right track. So Christine, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you again. I maybe San Diego. I don't know when it will be.
Yeah. Hope so.
But we were planning to be there. Folks, we hope you had a good time. We hope you learned lots of great things. And next week we have another special guest, Christine, someone you're very familiar with, Jennifer Watson, will be here.
Love her. I'm talking to her live on Friday too. I'm going to be on her show with Active Campaign on Friday.
There you go. Well, there you go. Now I don't have to tell anyone. She's with Active Campaign, and she also does some things still with the Weather Channel. So it should be an interesting show, we're going to be talking about content planning for your live stream. So from everyone at Wave.video and here at Live Better, we want to tell you thank you for being here, and hopefully we'll see you next week when we all learn together how to live better.